The man, unaware of being recorded, sat on the bus as it moved slowly through the busy streets. The tired engine of the bus seemed to complain about the long day it had endured. Michael gazed blankly out at the rain-spattered window, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. In his hand, he held a slightly crumpled piece of paper, his resume. Its importance was evident from the tight grip he had on it. This resume represented his hopes and a stark reminder of his recurring failures. Each word on that resume told a story of skills gained, lessons learned, and milestones achieved. Yet, despite its worth, it hadn't brought him the one thing he desperately needed, a job. Over the past 6 months, Michael had entered countless office buildings, shaking hands with strangers who held his fate in their hands. But the outcome was always the same, rejection. His once bright optimism had faded, leaving behind a shadow of doubt and self-pity. Lost in his thoughts, a high-pitched wail snapped Michael back to the present. He looked around and saw a young woman, Anna, in her late 20s. A few rows away, her face was marked with worry, her eyes pleading for relief. In her arms, she held a crying little girl named Sophia, with tear-streaked cheeks and quivering lips. Sophia's cries reverberated through the bus, creating an atmosphere of unease. Passengers exchanged glances, some filled with sympathy, while others concealed their annoyance. Tension hung heavy in the air, with every face reflecting varying shades of discomfort. Michael's first instinct was to drown out the distress with music, as he reached for his headphones. But something within him stopped him. Perhaps it was the despair in Anna's eyes, or a subconscious desire to make a small difference. A voice whispered to him, urging him to reach out and connect. Taking a deep breath, Michael stood up and carefully made his way toward Anna. His tall frame and dark skin stood out in the pale interior of the bus. Each step felt like a gamble, an exploration of uncharted territory. As he approached Anna, he could see the exhaustion etched on her face, telling stories of sleepless nights and unending challenges. "May I?" Michael began, his voice tinged with hesitance, as he gestured toward Sophia, offering unspoken support. Anna looked up, surprise evident in her gaze. For a brief moment, the world seemed to pause. The only sound was the soft patter of raindrops against the bus windows. In that fleeting moment, two strangers, brought together by fate, decided to lean on each other. In the far corner of the bus, nestled between the window and the aisle, sat Emily. Her light brown hair was pulled back into a loose ponytail, and she resembled a typical college student. Her fingers effortlessly danced over her phone's screen, as she immersed herself in the digital world of memes, stories, and tweets. To Emily, these online platforms were not just pastime destinations but integral parts of her life. Tools that bridged distances, narrated tales, and amplified voices were Emily's forte. Each post she shared or story she told became a thread in the ever-expanding tapestry of her digital life. But when Sophia's cries pierced the hushed atmosphere of the bus, Emily's initial reaction was one of subtle annoyance. She had become adept at curating her online world, filtering out negativity and disturbances. Yet, today, life presented a narrative she hadn't anticipated. From her vantage point, Emily had a clear view of Michael's silhouette as he approached Anna. She observed his hesitation, the deep breath he took before extending a comforting hand, and the unspoken understanding between two strangers. Even from a distance, Emily could feel the authenticity of the moment. It was raw, unfiltered, and deeply human. captivating her completely. There was an untold story unfolding before her. A tale of kindness in a world often characterized by division. Driven by instinct, Emily unlocked her phone and began recording. She wasn't thinking about likes or shares. Instead, she was capturing a moment that defied the stereotypical narratives often peddled online. It was a testament to the power of compassion. Michael's genuine attempt to bring solace to the little girl was an antidote to the often polarized snippets that flooded her feed. That evening, nestled among her college notes and textbooks, Emily replayed the video. The subtleties of the scene. The initial tension on the bus. Michael's tentative approach. And Sophia's transition from tears to laughter were beautifully captured. She felt compelled to share this story. To inject a drop of positivity into the vast ocean of the internet. As she uploaded the video, Emily pondered over the caption. Words floated in her mind, each attempting to encapsulate the essence of what she had witnessed. Finally, her fingers typed out. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. The digital realm, unpredictable as ever, seized upon Emily's post with fervor. Notifications poured in. Likes and shares multiplied exponentially. And by dawn, the video had gone viral. The simplicity of Michael's gesture resonated with thousands. Then millions. News outlets picked up the story. Bloggers shared their interpretations. And influencers joined in spreading the video. But beyond the numbers and the buzz, the video sparked conversations in cafes, classrooms, and living rooms across the globe. People discussed the kind-hearted stranger, wrote letters of appreciation, offered job opportunities for Michael, and shared heartwarming comments. It all stemmed from a single act of compassion. Emily's video had not merely captured a moment. It had ignited a movement, reminding the world of the enduring power of kindness. As the sun rose on a new day, the digital landscape buzzed with the story of the kind-hearted stranger on the bus. Emily's video had struck a chord, resonating across borders and demographics. The sheer authenticity of Michael's gesture was like a beacon, illuminating the often forgotten virtues of compassion and empathy. It didn't take long for netizens, with their curiosity and detective skills, to unveil the mystery man's identity. Michael, once an anonymous face among daily commuters, became the subject of national intrigue. Friends tagged him, past colleagues shared their anecdotes, and his inbox overflowed with messages of appreciation, admiration, and job offers. Companies, in a world where brand values and human connections were increasingly intertwined, recognized the goldmine of integrity and character that Michael represented. Here was a man who, without any anticipation of rewards or recognition, had showcased genuine kindness to many corporate entities. This was not just commendable but also desirable. However, for Michael, the sudden spotlight was overwhelming. Each morning brought a dozen emails from tech giants to local startups, all eager to have him on board. The media clamored for interviews, wanting to delve deeper into the story of the man behind the viral video. As days turned into nights, Michael felt like he was trapped in a whirlwind, with the world spinning around him at an incredible pace. Certainly, here's the rewritten content while preserving the original meaning. Michael couldn't fully grasp the multitude of job offers that flooded his inbox. While they were flattering, he took a moment for introspection. He realized that he didn't want this incident to be a mere stepping stone to a lucrative position. The heartening responses to his act of kindness reminded him of the world's deep-seated yearning for genuine human connections. He longed to be part of something more significant. A mission that went beyond corporate boardrooms and profit margins. Among the deluge of offers, one email stood out. It was from Children's Hope, a renowned nonprofit dedicated to supporting underprivileged children. Their proposal was straightforward. They wanted Michael to join them as a community outreach coordinator. This role involved bridging the gap between the nonprofit and local communities, establishing relationships, and ensuring aid reached the most vulnerable. While it might have appeared modest compared to the glamorous positions offered by corporate giants, for Michael, it was a calling. The job description aligned with his own beliefs, emphasizing the importance of community, empathy, and direct impact. It offered not just a paycheck but a purpose. Taking a leap of faith, Michael accepted the offer. When he walked into the Children's Hope office, he was no longer just the man from the video. He had become an advocate for change, a guiding light for those in need, and a living testament to the idea that sometimes the universe conspires to lead you exactly where you belong. Michael's story transcended being a mere viral sensation. It became an embodiment of hope. It served as a reminder that in the vast tapestry of life, acts of kindness could indeed create ripples that change destinies. The radiant sun peeked through Michael's window, illuminating a room filled with evidence of his transformed life. Pictures of outreach programs with Children's Hope adorned the walls, and awards of excellence were scattered on the shelves. Michael's journey from a despondent job seeker to a respected community figure was nothing short of miraculous. However, amid the accolades and prosperity, a void remained, a chapter left unfinished. The memory of that day on the bus, with Anna's weary eyes and Sophia's tears, remained etched in his heart. It was the turning point. The moment his life took an unexpected trajectory. Deciding it was time to close that loop, Michael reached out to Anna, hoping to rekindle the connection born from a single act of kindness. When Anna received Michael's message, a rush of emotions flooded her. The stranger from the bus, whose kindness had briefly brightened her challenging day, was now reaching out. They decided to meet, bringing together the three protagonists of that fateful day. The reunion was a heartwarming affair. Anna, now with Sophia as a vivacious 5-year-old, greeted Michael with warmth that spoke of deep gratitude. As Sophia shyly approached him, Michael bent down, his eyes twinkling, and pulled out a small toy bus from his pocket, eliciting a giggle from the little girl. The ice was broken. In the months that followed, their bond deepened. Michael, with no siblings of his own, found in Sophia and Anna a beacon of joy and innocence. Their weekends were filled with park visits, storytelling sessions, and shared laughter. Anna, on the other hand, discovered in Michael a confidant, someone who understood life's challenges. Certainly. Here's the rewritten content while preserving the original meaning. Michael faced challenges with unwavering positivity, a quality that formed the foundation of his relationship with Anna and Sophia. Despite the fame and opportunities brought to him by the internet, social media trends come and go. Videos go viral one day and are forgotten the next. However, genuine human connections, once forged, stand the test of time. One Sunday afternoon, the trio deliberately found themselves waiting at a bus stop. Not by coincidence but by choice. They wanted to relive the journey, to pay homage to the serendipitous moment that had intertwined their destinies. As they boarded the bus, memories came flooding back. Michael, with a smile, offered his phone to Sophia. reminiscent of their first encounter. Anna looked out the window, reflecting on the unpredictable nature of life, where a random act of kindness on an ordinary day could lead to lasting relationships. The bus ride, much like their shared journey, was a testament to the magic that ensues when lives collide and hearts connect. In a world often veiled in apathy, their story shone brightly as a beacon, reminding everyone of the power of kindness. It was a tale not of fleeting fame but of enduring bonds, proving that while algorithms might trend, it's authenticity that truly resonates. Laura, a devoted and caring mother, had a special routine with her son Michael. They engaged in post-dinner chats, played weekend games, and she regularly checked on him at bedtime. These moments were precious to them. However, it was during one casual evening conversation that Laura discovered something unusual. 8-year-old Michael, with a hint of embarrassment, confided that he hadn't used the bathroom for what seemed like weeks. This revelation stunned Laura. Michael's diet had always been balanced. Laura ensured he consumed plenty of fiber, fresh fruits, vegetables, and drank ample water. How could a child on such a diet face constipation for weeks? And why hadn't he mentioned it earlier? Laura's mind buzzed with questions and concerns. Determined to address the issue, she scheduled an appointment with Dr. Bennett, Michael's pediatrician since he was a toddler. Dr. Bennett had a calming presence and was thorough in his examinations. Laura hoped this visit would provide answers. Upon reaching the clinic, Michael appeared slightly nervous and clung to Laura. After the initial checks, Dr. Bennett looked puzzled. There doesn't seem to be any obstruction or immediate medical concern, he informed Laura after a series of physical exams. He suggested that perhaps it was just a temporary phase. Maybe stress or a minor issue that would resolve itself with time. But he's only 8. What could possibly stress him out to this extent? Laura wondered, growing even more anxious. Returning home, she shared her worries and the pediatrician's feedback with her husband, John. However, John's reaction was not what she had expected. Unlike Laura, who was on the verge of panic, John was nonchalant. Kids are odd sometimes. He's probably just too engrossed in his video games or books to notice. It's a phase, he'll be all right, he commented, barely lifting his gaze from his evening newspaper. Laura felt isolated in her concern. John's indifference stung. She had expected support, understanding, perhaps even shared concern. Instead, John dismissed her worries, as if she were overreacting to a trivial childhood quirk. Torn between her maternal instincts and the varied advice from her trusted doctor and indifferent husband, Laura felt cornered. She was determined to delve deeper, refusing to believe that Michael's well-being was merely a trivial concern. It was more than just about bowel movements. It was about understanding the silent plea for help her young son might be making. Laura's maternal instincts remained restless. The nagging thought that there might be something seriously wrong with Michael persisted. She decided it was time to seek a second medical opinion. A week later, they found themselves in the plush chambers of Dr. Reed, a renowned pediatric gastroenterologist known for his expertise in treating children with mysterious ailments. He ordered a series of tests, including radiological ones, to leave no stone unturned in identifying the issue. However, the results echoed Dr. Bennett's conclusion. Michael was physically healthy. Dr. Reed did stress that sometimes the causes could be psychological or emotional, suggesting they might explore those avenues. if the situation persisted. Frustrated and desperate, Laura began researching alternative treatments, and stumbled upon an intriguing option, a local healer named Miss Marcella, rumored to have helped in inexplicable cases. With a mix of skepticism and hope, Laura considered this as a potential avenue to explore. Laura scheduled an appointment with Marcella, the local healer. Marcella's home had an ancient aura, with walls adorned with dried herbs, talismans, and old pictures. She observed Michael closely and then declared, "It's the evil eye, someone's negative energy is affecting him." Although Laura was familiar with the concept, an old cultura, belief that certain envious glares could bring misfortune, she had always considered it a superstition. However, her desperation overruled her skepticism. Marcella prepared a concoction of mysterious herbs, and instructed Laura to give Michael a teaspoon daily, assuring her that it would cleanse his system. Despite her reservations, Laura felt that it couldn't hurt to try. Weeks turned into months, and Laura's anxiety reached its peak. The mysterious herbal treatment, much like the previous medical opinions, seemed ineffective. Every morning, she would hope for a change in Michael's condition, only to face disappointment. She felt trapped in a relentless cycle of worry with no way out. One evening, as darkness settled and the house reverberated with the usual sounds of the night, Laura felt an overwhelming urge to call her mother. They had drifted apart over the years, with unresolved issues creating a chasm between them. However, at that moment, Laura yearned for her mother's comfort. On the other end, her mother's familiar voice brought an immediate flood of emotions. With tears streaming down her face, Laura relayed her ordeal, emphasizing Michael's distress. Her mother listened patiently, offering words of comfort and wisdom. Children often internalize their feelings, especially when sensing distress in their environment, she mused. As the conversation flowed, Laura found herself opening up about other aspects of her life, the strain in her marriage, John's indifference, and her feelings of isolation. It became evident that Michael's issue was just part of a more significant family dynamic problem. Her mother gently suggested seeking family therapy, considering that perhaps Michael's condition was a manifestation of deeper familial issues. By the end of the call, Laura felt a weight lifted. The solution wasn't clear yet, but she realized that sometimes revisiting old connections, like her relationship with her mother, could provide fresh perspectives. Determined, Laura resolved to approach the issue holistically, understanding that Michael's health might be intertwined with the emotional well-being of the family. She knew the road ahead might be long, but she was ready to face it head-on for Michael's sake, and for the well-being of her family. Having exhausted both traditional and alternative treatments, Laura felt an increasing sense of desperation. One evening, while watching a crime documentary, an idea sparked in her mind. If she couldn't get answers during the day, maybe the nighttime held the key. Perhaps Michael had developed a secret habit. That was the root cause of the mystery. She decided to install cameras around the house, focusing particularly on Michael's bathroom. She rationalized it as a necessary invasion of privacy for the larger good. The very next day, with Michael at school and John at work, Laura discreetly set up the cameras, ensuring they blended seamlessly with the decor. As night approached, her heart raced with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Hope and fear battled within Laura as she reviewed the footage. The following morning, after dropping Michael off at school, the house settled into its nighttime rhythm after they had all gone to bed, with occasional flickers of light casting ethereal glows. Michael's room showed him peacefully asleep, cocooned under his blanket. His trips to the bathroom showed nothing unusual, in fact. He didn't even approach it throughout the night. Disheartened, Laura was about to stop the footage, when she noticed something peculiar in the living room's feed. Every night, at around 2 a.m., Michael would sneak out to the backyard. He would stay out for a few minutes and then quietly return to his room. Curiosity replaced her initial despair. What was he doing in the backyard every night? Over the next few nights, Laura observed the same routine but couldn't decipher his actions from the grainy footage. She decided to take a more direct approach. One night, after ensuring Michael was sound asleep, she quietly positioned herself in a concealed spot in the backyard. Hours ticked by in the cold night air, wrapped around her. Just as her eyes were growing heavy, the back door clicked. Michael, in his pajamas, tiptoed out, his hands clutching a small container, which he carefully emptied at a specific spot in the garden. The moonlight reflected off the liquid, creating a glisten as it seeped into the ground. Stunned, Laura approached her son. Startled, Michael looked up, tears streaming down his face. He held up the container. It was a little jar that had once housed his pet fish, now filled with his own urine. "I didn't want you and Dad to fight because of me," he whispered. Laura's heart ached. Over the past months, every discussion about Michael's health had ended up in an argument between her and John. Michael, in his attempt to protect his family's harmony, had resorted to this secret nightly ritual. The revelation brought Laura to her knees, holding Michael close and apologizing profusely for not realizing the emotional burden he was bearing. This wasn't about a medical issue. It was about a child's silent cry for a peaceful home. The following week saw Laura and John attending family therapy together. They acknowledged the impact their discord had on Michael, and learned to communicate better, ensuring that their home became a sanctuary for their son. Michael's condition improved drastically once the atmosphere at home became more harmonious. The cameras, initially installed to unveil a mystery, ended up revealing a poignant truth about the silent sufferings of a child and the lengths they would go to protect their loved ones. Every evening, after ensuring Michael was asleep, Laura would review the footage of their backyard. The consistency of Michael's actions raised alarms. She saw him every day heading to a particular spot and hunching over. The camera's distance made it hard to discern details, but Laura felt a gnawing sensation at the pit of her stomach. One evening, when John was away on a business trip and Michael was at a friend's sleepover, Laura decided to investigate. Armed with a flashlight, she walked to the specific spot, her heart thudding loudly, echoing her dread. As the sun's beam hit the ground, Laura's worst fears were confirmed. The area was strewn with semi-digested food, evidence of daily vomiting. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. This was why Michael wasn't using the bathroom. He wasn't retaining enough food for regular bowel movements. Tears streamed down Laura's face. How had she missed this? The weight of guilt bore down on her. Without wasting any time, she booked an appointment with Dr. Andrea Mitchell, a renowned child psychologist she had heard about through a friend. The consultation arrived, and Laura walked into Dr. Mitchell's sunlit office, holding Michael's hand. Dr. Mitchell, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a comforting demeanor, welcomed them. After an initial conversation to make Michael feel at ease, the session began. Through gentle probing, Dr. Mitchell encouraged Michael to speak about his feelings. Hesitant at first, Michael eventually started sharing. revealing a deep-seated insecurity. Mom and John always seemed so happy together. He whispered, his eyes brimming with tears. I feel like I'm in the way. Maybe if I was different, Mom would have more time for me. Laura felt a sharp sting in her heart. She had never realized the impact her relationship with John had on her son. Dr. Mitchell continued, explaining to Laura that children sometimes internalize feelings of neglect or replacement, especially in homes with step-parents. Michael's vomiting was a manifestation of his emotional distress, an attempt to gain control in a world where he felt displaced. With tears streaming, Laura held Michael close. I'm so sorry, she whispered. Her voice choked with emotion. You are my world. John is a part of our lives, but he will never replace you. Dr. Mitchell suggested family therapy to ensure better communication between Laura, Michael, and John. She emphasized that while the physical symptoms were concerning, addressing the root emotional cause was crucial. Over the following weeks, the trio attended sessions, working through their feelings and insecurities. John, realizing the inadvertent impact of his presence, made an extra effort to bond with Michael, ensuring the boy never felt sidelined. Slowly, with love, patience, and understanding, Michael's emotional and physical health improved. Laura often looked back at that period as a turning point in their lives. It was a painful revelation, but it had given them a chance to rebuild their bond stronger and more resilient than ever. The backyard, once a place of secrets and pain, became a space of joy, laughter, and togetherness for the family. With her heart heavy with newfound revelations, Laura decided it was time for a conversation. An open heart-to-heart with her son. The next morning, they sat down on the porch, the early sun casting a warm glow on their faces. She gently took Michael's small hands into hers, taking a deep breath to steady herself. Michael, she began, her voice soft yet firm. I saw you in the backyard. Michael's face turned ashen, his eyes widening in shock. He tried to pull away, but Laura held on, continuing. It breaks my heart that you felt this way, that you felt so alone and unloved. Michael looked down, tears rolling down his cheeks. I just wanted you to notice me, he whispered, his voice shaking. I felt like John took you away. The reality of her son's words weighed heavily on Laura. She realized the extent of the strain John had inadvertently placed on their relationship. It wasn't just about adjusting to new dynamics. It was about a young boy feeling replaced and lost in his own home. Laura, Michael said, his eyes wet. You are and will always be the most important part of my life. No one can ever take your place in my heart. The weeks that followed were transformative. Laura, recognizing that John's presence had a deeper negative impact than she could mend, made the difficult decision to end the marriage. It wasn't out of spite or anger, but from a place of love for her son and the need to protect their bond. The house echoed with the silence of their departure. But the void didn't last long. The bond between Laura and Michael strengthened, as they supported each other through the pain and adjustments. A year later, at a local community event, Laura bumped into David, a gentle, unassuming man with a warm smile and a twinkle in his eyes. They struck up a conversation, and Laura was immediately drawn to his kindness and understanding. David, having lost his wife a few years ago, had a daughter around Michael's age. The real magic happened when Michael and David met. The connection was instantaneous. Whether it was their shared love of vintage comic books, or their weekend fishing trips. Their bond grew stronger every day. David's daughter, Emily, and Michael also formed a close bond, supporting and looking out for one another. The house, which once echoed with tension and unspoken sorrows, now resonated with laughter, joy, and understanding. Movie nights, weekend getaways, and even simple breakfasts became treasured moments. Michael flourished in this loving environment, and his episodes in the backyard became a distant memory. Laura often found herself watching her son with David, her heart swelling with gratitude. The paths to this happiness had been fraught with challenges and heartaches, but in the end, they led to a home filled with unconditional love and acceptance. Life had taught Laura a valuable lesson. Sometimes, by closing one door, you open up a world filled with joy, love, and second chances. And for Michael, it meant rediscovering the joy of childhood surrounded by love and understanding.